Saving the Everglades. I'm going to talk about biodiversity today and biodiversity loss. Biodiversity is the variety of life in the world or in a particular habitat or ecosystem. The process of documenting life on Earth requires us to consider biodiversity on three different levels. Those are species diversity, genetic diversity, and ecosystem diversity. Species diversity is the full variety of species from a single-celled organism like bacteria to larger multicellular organisms like animals and everything in between. Genetic diversity is the full range of variability in genetic material within a species. And ecosystem diversity is the full variety of ecosystems full of species and the physical environments in which they live. Biodiversity loss, which is the main topic of this presentation today, includes the worldwide extinction of different species as well as the local reduction or loss of species in a certain habitat resulting in a loss of biological diversity. Biodiversity loss fact sheet. I thought these were pretty cool to include. Biodiversity is important in all areas on Earth. Here are some of the interesting facts about our Earth's biosystem and species that are threatened by it. About 1 million plant and animal species face the threat of extinction. The majority of native species and land-based habitats have fallen by a minimum of 20% since the 1990s. Extinction threatens more than a third of all marine mammals. There has been a 68% average decline in the population sizes of mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and fish between 1970 and 2016. Human activities have significantly altered 3/4 of land-based environments, and climate change poses a threat to 4,161 species. Biodiversity loss in the Florida Everglades. The Everglades is facing biodiversity threats in many ways. Some of those threats include reduced water flow, nutrition pollution, invasive species, and sea level rise. Currently, the Everglades is referred to one of the most affected parks in the U.S. One big factor in the Everglades is the water altogether. The Everglades provides water to over 8 million Floridians and provides drinking water as well as used for other sources to the animals it homes, including 39 threatened species, 300 fish species, 50 reptilian species, 360 avian species, and 40 mammalian species. Water toxins. The water quality and quantity in the Everglades is taking a huge hit. They are finding toxins such as phosphorus, nitrogen, and mercury. When too much of these toxins are found in the water, they can cause issues that include loss of the natural communities of algae that are defining characteristics of the Everglades, loss of water, dissolved oxygen that fish need, changes in the native plant communities that result in a loss of the open water areas where wading birds feed. What is causing this issue? The nitrogen and phosphorus in animal manure and chemical fertilizers are necessary to grow crops. However, when these nutrients are not fully utilized by plants, they can be lost from the farm fields and negatively impact air and downstream water quality. When precipitation falls on our cities and towns, it runs across hard surfaces like rooftops, sidewalks, and roads and carries pollutants, including nitrogen and phosphorus, into local waterways. Our sewer and septic systems are responsible for treating large quantities of water, and these systems do not always operate properly or remove enough nitrogen and phosphorus before discharging into waterways. Electric power generation, industry, transportation, and agriculture have increased the amount of nitrogen in the air through the use of fossil fuels, and fertilizers, yard and pet waste, and certain soaps and detergents contain nitrogen and phosphorus and can contribute to nutrient pollution if not properly used or disposed. The amount of hard surfaces and type of landscaping can also increase the runoff of nitrogen and phosphorus during wet weather. Who can help? The audience I want to address this to are all citizens who live in Florida, and specifically those who live in Collier County, which is where the Everglades is located. Living in Florida and being surrounded by water, citizens don't have any concerns because they think we have so much water that there's nothing to worry about, where in fact they are wrong. And I want to explain and try to get the citizens to understand why it is important to take care of our ecosystems, especially the Florida Everglades. This is my social ecological framework model. So I started with kind of a summary, which is the Everglades water faces more and more issues every year, specifically primary sources of excess nitrogen and phosphorus. A great percentage of the water is damaged due to many different circumstances that lead to those results. So we have a social side here, an environmental side here. And the social factors include pollution, developed agriculture, human waste, alteration of landscapes, and the environmental factors include climate change, sea level rise, winter droughts, and heavy rainstorms. I connected some of them together, like pollution and human waste, because we don't realize how much stuff is in like our hair products we use and the laundry detergents, like I talked about previously. And all those, when they go down the drain, go into our water systems and pollute it. The outcomes of all this would be the high nitrogen levels, high phosphorus levels, decreased number of species, and the need for more water will rise. The historic and current management practices. It is important to remember that a healthy ecosystem is vital to a healthy economy. The South Water Management District, along with the state and local officials, committed to restoring, revitalizing, and protecting this natural treasure, being the Everglades. A number of projects actually have been on their way and are still ongoing. A couple of those are what I wanted to mention that relate specifically to saving the water. Are the state of Florida and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency have reached a consensus on new strategies for improving the water quality. They are creating a flow equalization basin, or in other words, they call it FEB, which is a constructed storage feature used to capture and store peak stormwater flows. Water managers can move water then from the FEBs into SDAs at a steady rate to optimize SDA performance and achieve the water quality improvement targets. So that's the first one that they've been working on and are still working on. The next one is just kind of a fact, but over the last 20 years, Florida has invested $1.8 billion in phosphorus control programs that have significantly improved Everglades water quality. Scientific monitoring shows at least 90% of the Everglades now meets ultra-clean water quality standards of 10 parts per billion or less for the nutrient. In my opinion, the practices and the programs and all the things they have going on right now are saving the Everglades. And I think they all have great ideas, and even if it's a slow process, it is making a difference. It's better than doing nothing at all. In my framework model, I made it clear that citizens play a large factor in the pollution of the waterways in the Everglades. Everything we use at home, again, like soaps and certain fertilizers, all go into our waterways without us even realizing it. My recommendation would be for the state of Florida to give extra funds to those who are managing the Everglades. That way, we can provide large budgets to those who are trying to come up with the strategies in order to save our water and save the Everglades altogether. Swag. I wanted to create awareness of the issues happening in the Florida Everglades ecosystem. So my plan is to create an event. During this 2-day event, there will be airboat rides that are available to be purchased. This will be a way for the public to get a great view of the beauty of the Everglades. There will be a ton of presentations on top of how to protect our water and ways to help contribute on saving the future of our waterway systems. There will be prizes and drawings that spectators can put their names in when any donation to the Everglades are made. And on top of that, we will welcome in many wildlife experts who will talk about why we need to save the ecosystem. And they will have gators that anyone can get the opportunity to touch. Everyone who attends will receive a free t-shirt and a bumper sticker for their cars. I want this event to appeal to all ages. Everybody plays an important role when it comes to saving our water and making a difference with our water. So this was my brochure that I'm going to put at local companies to buy and in hopes to spread the word about the fest. I wrote comfort the experience, lead with the knowledge. I have where the event will be held, how to buy tickets for like the airboat rides, and then the dates and times. I made my Everglades t-shirt and my Everglades bumper sticker here that everybody will get to shows. I think the Everglades has some promise for its future. The state of Florida has dedicated a ton of money and resources to help save the ecosystem. We as citizens should try to do our part and help those who are trying to make a difference. I have learned some things that we can do at home to help, and some of those are reuse items, choose recyclable options, do not dispose of oils in the sink, choose safe cleaning chemicals, handle toxic chemicals properly, shop to stop water pollution, and do not throw away medicines. Thank you for watching my presentation.